evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Kyle Wright 425 podcast. I am your host, Kyle Wright, and as always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Cletus Cassidy. If you were enjoying, I tried to make that smooth.
Yeah.
If you are enjoying the show, and if you want to make sure you never miss an upload, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, as well as follow us on Spotify, where you can get the radio feel of the show. I've noticed when I've listened to the show on Spotify, I get that, deep, just radio vibe you get from, Bob and Tom and Stansberry and everything. Like, it's cool to.
I can't do it.
A part of me really does enjoy it, but you do miss out on all the visuals and stuff that we have down here. So
that's where I want to see the stuff.
As you can see, we have made it very blue down here tonight.
Yeah.
For illumination reasons, we're trying this out to see how the lighting looks and
seeing if it looks like shit or not.
Yes, that's
so
that is the goal. So
you'll find out before we do. No, actually,
no.
We'll find out. You'll find out.
In the editing process.
Fuck that all up.
So, but
anyways,
but yes,
it's water.
So enjoy your A&W root beer purchased from the local Dollar General. Now, tonight we're going to do something a little different. We've been very article heavy for a while. We have been kind of taking the deep fat fried approach, and we are the uneducated for the uneducated to educate those that are uneducated. But tonight we're just
the dumb teaching the dumb.
So tonight
I didn't mean to call you dumb. That's not what I meant. We're dumb, not you're dumb.
You can just feel the comments.
No, it's got to be your bull.
So essentially tonight, this is just going to be a conversation of us just talking about just movie, TV show deaths, things in cinema that have influenced us, that have scared us, that have disturbed us, or maybe even emotionally, rocked us, depending on what we have. I know that my list is kind of diverse on the feelings and different, aspects of that. And, so, I mean, this is in no particular order. This is not done of a top 5 list or anything like that, but we have, we've chosen 5 different deaths. Each of us to talk about, and there could be some other conversations that could spark from that. We don't know what's going to happen.
Let me get my pen out.
That's right. Oh, your little fancy pants phone. Look at you,
stupid ass phone.
But stupid phone.
Yeah, well,
I
a lot of fucking money.
I thought it was pretty good.
So, a lot of money, dude. I hate it. View all notes. There we go. Got him.
I got a hair on my tongue. Isn't that the worst?
Got ham in my mouth. Yeah, only mom will get that.
So, I guess the best way to start this out would be to kind of just talk about like the idea of like how many deaths do you think that you've seen in a movie? If you had to don't
just in one?
Like, no, I'm talking about like, in the entirety of your life, if you could put like
thousands. Thousands. It has to be.
And they range.
I'm about it.
They range from everything from super intense to non-intense to PG to R to all that stuff.
For fuck's sake, Mr. Fredrickson's wife dies at the beginning of Up. Saddest fucking movie ever in the first 19 seconds ever in a movie.
That movie did a fantastic job of getting you emotionally attached to those characters. Yes, and that's what I love about great writing. That's what I love about and by the way, that's basically done in the time lapse with little to no dialogue. You have the establishment in the beginning of them it's like you have the establishment at the beginning of them as kids, and then you're not like, I really wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. Like when I watched Up, I didn't know what to expect of it, and once it started to really start to roll, I was like, man, I'm like, this is like, it's just Up. Like if you were to just look at it as a written story, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's, it's crazy. A guy puts balloons on the top of his house to go to this, location that him and his wife wanted to go, before they died. Like, it's such a beautifully put together and just poetic story. And I love that, so
it really is.
But yeah, like the way that you see, them break the jar every time that they've saved up because, the water heater went out,
or like tire and all that. Yeah.
Right. And what kills me is the way that they shot that, which, I mean, I don't know if you can even say shot that because it was all digitally. Right. But the way that you've seen this tradition of theirs, of them walking up to the tree and I don't know if it's done it like 3 or 4 times or whatever, but then the final time when
slow,
when the final time when she collapses and you realize like, God, like it's just like Up did something just crazy with that. And it's like, it's kind of the mentality of like what Naughty Dog did. It's like, you know, they got you emotionally attached to characters in less than 15 minutes.
Right.
And it sets the trajectory of the rest of the story. So it's like, that's, to me, that's just the ample of good writing, which to me, I believe is very important whenever you have a death in a movie. You know, it's because you have to be able to, you have to be able to find something relatable or find something in those characters that you're like, man, like I don't want to lose this person. You know, like in the story, you know, and it's the way that Stephen King, you know, would even write his characters when people would be like, you know, like, how did you know that so-and-so was going to die in your story? And he's like, I didn't. He's like, that's just what had to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I love it when people take that approach and they do something different, you know, and it's like they make you just completely involved. So that's kind of what a few of mine have. One in particular is iconic, and it's very recent.
Well, then, I mean, go ahead. I kind of figured, I think I know what it is.
Okay.
I'll bet you I can guess it.
So, all right. So, before we get officially started on ours, Christy earlier made a really, really good point.
Oh, by the way, other than looking at the list, it's not that I'm ignoring him or doing. What I'm doing is we actually just started. I did start the Cavecast Instagram. So I put on earlier about, you know, making comments or people saying something. So I'm going to periodically check it just to see if anything did happen.
Yep.
Again, we don't have a huge following yet, so probably not, but
yeah,
you never know.
It'll be linked in the, like where all the social links and stuff are in the description if you want to find it on there. So, like I said before is that,
we got a comment. So I'll be.
So basically the way that this is going to work is that, the Kyle Red 425 podcast is going to stick around for a small amount of time when I'm able to build up the intro that I want to do. I was playing around with some things tonight and I was like, okay, I'm like, this is kind of what I want to see this look like. And this is kind of like maybe what I want to go with. There's going to be cave ambience, the drippings and all that stuff. And there's going to be a little light, you know, kind of tasting of that. And there's also going to be some, I want to try to find some signature music that we can put with it that's going to have a cave feel. So
yeah, and that's fine.
It's going to be really, really good.
So no, and so that happens quite a bit is just we found our brand, we got it. Mm-hmm. That way we have it. So he's right. He's, as far as like the visuals on our side, that might take a couple weeks or 2 months or whatever. I mean, holidays are happening, but it's the .cavecast on Instagram. Yep. I can send him a picture to throw up right here or whatever, maybe. And then that way you guys know what it looks like. It's our ugly mugs on the front. So definitely stop in. Give a follow. That way you guys can start commenting. I'll start posting weekly pictures of us getting ready to cast what we're doing for that week. That way you guys know what like future episodes are going to be, things like that. So
absolutely.
Anyways, so that being said, I'm not ignoring him. I'm looking to see if there's anything on here. I promise. So
he's staying connected.
Yeah.
So
I'm social mediating.
I think the best way to start this off is one with one that is not ours, but just something that I feel is definitely worth sharing. Because I was telling Christy earlier when we were eating dinner, I was like, hey, I'm like, this is the topic tonight. This is what we're going to talk about, and we're talking about just cinema deaths that have influenced us or have affected us in some way. And she just laughed and she was like, Paris Hilton in House of Wax. She's like, that's the main reason I watched that movie, is to see her get a pipe through her head.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and she was just, I think the way she said it to me too was that she was just like, she just played herself. That's basically all that happened in that film, So I mean, it's just, whatever. But
that's funny. That's a good one.
House of Wax to me is a movie that I did enjoy. It's one of my favorite Jared Padalecki movies. Way better in my opinion than Friday the 13th, I think I've said it before, but I was really, really excited about the new Friday the 13th because they had a really awesome, character or an actor.
I liked it.
it's maybe I just need to rewatch it again under better circumstances or something. But it's just, all that being said, it's just that House of Wax has always stuck out to me as just, it was a very, very solid, scary movie. It wasn't too out there. It wasn't, impossible, with some of the things. Some of the stuff does get a little weird or crazy, but it's essentially just a House of Wax. So it's very, very grounded. It's very, believable.
I'll be honest with you. I've only really seen it once. I remember it being a good movie.
Yeah.
See, when I think of that, I think of when me and Mom would watch Waxworks. Okay. Was that what it was called? Or Wax House? There was a movie that we would watch, and it was kind of the same concept where it was like different styles of wax figures, and they would come to life and do all that stuff, and it was creepy as fuck. I just remember the one scene. It was the werewolf. The werewolf rips somebody in half, and it was pretty fucking wicked. And even for being back then, 80s, early 80s.
That was gonna be my next question. I didn't know, what era or what decade it was in.
Definitely in the great era of when all the sweet slasher horror, B horror movies, all that stuff came out.
Yeah.
But ironically, none of mine on my actual list are from a horror genre.
Which I don't mean this it's if you would have given me horror, I would have been disappointed, but it's more so I enjoy that. I like the idea of just, look, I'm not going to go the route that you think that I am. I'm going to try something different. They're
just bloody.
Right. And there's two on my list that are probably going to be a little out of left field that people are probably going to be okay. They may have not even seen the movie. I brought up one of them to somebody today, and they're like, "Wow, I've not seen that film." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So
well, let's jump into it then. Who wants to go first?
I can start us off.
Go ahead.
And the first one is Eddie from The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Okay,
and that. To me, the reason that's the first one for me is I was actually so obsessed with that death scene that I actually got in trouble because all I did was talk about it. And it was I was so young talking about this guy getting ripped apart by two T-Rexes. I actually got grounded, and it was oh, you're not watching that movie for a month or whatever. You got to stop. But the interesting thing about that was that it was the very first, I guess you could say, dismemberment death I had ever seen as a kid. I think the way that I described it was that, as far as color levels of death of, severity, it was a very green death in the realm of, violence and stuff, because you don't really see blood. There's not innards. There's nothing like that. But
it's still you see it.
It's the sound. It's the the way that I've realized it as I've gotten older. I've certain scenes have actually gotten harder for me to watch because now I understand the. There's this mentality, and I can't remember who said it, but essentially it's the idea that nobody really grows up. We're just kids that are trying to deal with this world. And when you think about life in that kind of lens, it makes you realize that if two T-Rexes are ripping apart your car to get after you, when he is crying and trying to get his gun, and it's I don't know if he knew that it was over, but I was telling Christy earlier, I'm he made these tranquilizer darts to take down T-Rexes.
Yeah.
And it was he had a chance and he couldn't get it out because it was caught in the netting of his truck. And it's the number one. I don't know the actor's name that portrayed Eddie. He's kind of that guy. He's he's there. A fantastic actor.
Yeah.
But it just, that one stuck with me even as an adult. Sometimes it comes back to me and I'm just God, I'm that is horrifying. Now, also too, practical effects in that scene. Amazing.
Yeah, they did a very good job on all of the practical effects in those movies, dinosaurs included, you know. So that's a very interesting death to go with, because like you said, it is I dare say a kids movie.
Kind of, it is a very entry level kind of thing, you know.
It's scary, but it's not, and it's a kids movie, but it isn't. Well, it's weird.
Think about it, is that, you know, the first Jurassic Park had the whole, Samuel L. Jackson arm coming down, and you see that it's just his arm. So it's like, but that's a death that happens off screen. So it's like you
see the after effect.
And some deaths, which actually surprisingly enough, I don't have any off screen deaths on this list, but to me, I feel like sometimes those can be even more influential. Sometimes it's like when you understand kind of like, God, like what happened to them? Like, how did that go down?
That usually pisses me off. I'm like, fucking show me.
Well, I think that when it's done in a way to shock you and you realize like, no, this person's been dead. And it's like, it's that kind of way. But but also too, with Eddie's death, what I love about that scene is that he did not give up saving them. Like I think that's ironically kind of what killed him, because even while he was trying to fight off these T-Rexes, his foot was on that gas pedal to make sure that he was still pulling them up. And it's like, it was a very heroic
if he would have stopped for just a second to do what he needed to do, but then it could have been right.
It's
Scott. Who was it?
I can't rember his name. I
gotta know.
Yeah. Because they even, what I never realized until I was older too, is that when the rest of the crew saves them and they pull them up on the cliff, they're talking about like, how are we going to get out of here? What are we going to do? And the main hunter of the group basically says, he's like, they've already had a meal, so they're not going to be coming back. And Jeff Goldblum's character looks at him and he's like, Eddie sacrificed himself to save us. And he's like, yeah, frankly, big monsters don't eat when they're not hungry. Let's go. And his death kind of was just blanketed over a second. Like they didn't even have time to really process it. So
Richard Schiff?
Richard Schiff. So yeah, Richard, if you ever see this podcast, I know
you fucked my brother all up.
It was, dude, like you did a fantastic job, man. Like that for sure. That's it's just,
I do now. I remember that spot. Yes. Where he's okay.
What I love about that scene too, is I never got it when I was a kid, because like there's that whole coping mechanism that you use whenever like you're in danger, was that when he I fucking love it. He runs into the RV and he's like, is everyone okay? Like, what do you need? And they're like, we need rope, we need this. He's like, all right, anything else? And they're like, yeah, 2 double cheeseburgers and like this. Whatever. Yeah. So like, and he's just like, okay, fine, I got to go to work. So, it's just that whole sequence of him tying that rope in the rain, and slipping and fighting and getting it. Like that's probably one of my favorite Jurassic Park scenes, just because it's so tense. You're like this shouldn't affect me in the anxiety.
It made it real.
Yes. And it's so like you're realizing like, no, like if this was happening, fall,
like that's what you would do.
Right.
It made it to the point of like, fuck. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're good.
Yeah,
I get it.
So that was kind of like what kind of set the trajectory for me with this podcast, was that I was thinking about that. That's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's kind of like a way to be like, get it off my chest in a way. So that was my first one. So Eddie from The Lost World. That would be a definite one that kind of again made me realize what was possible in movies. Like I did, because I had not seen like the Hellraisers, had not seen anything like that when I was a kid. So that was kind of like my first little cannonball into the deep end, if you will.
You were a little bit of a different breed with that. Not that that's a bad thing. Not everybody gets into horror right as a kid like I did. Mm-hmm. I liked that.
Yeah.
Shocking. But yeah. Okay. Well, mine right off the rip, Hans Gruber.
Now it's what is that one? Hans Gruber? I know the name, and it's totally, I'm blanking on it.
Oh, really?
What's the
Die Hard?
Oh yes, Hans Gruber. Now I have a machine gun. Or whatever.
It wasn't even the fact of that it was graphic or that you didn't know it was coming. I think the best part for me was I found out years later that when that scene actually happened, he didn't know. So his expression is real.
Yes. And yes.
And yes. I always found that knowing that now as an adult, it makes sense, because when I was a kid watching Die Hard over and over and over again, it looked real.
Yeah.
And it's because it fucking was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he didn't really fall from a skyscraper, but it was slow motion. So that first,
yeah,
but that was 13 seconds of a 3-second the clip that they got because they just slowed it down. He knew it was coming, but he didn't know it was coming like that.
It's kind of like when you get your eyebrows waxed and they're like, all right, I'm going to count to 3. 1. Yeah. They just pull it, you know.
So that one's a pretty short one for me. It was just that was immediate. And for all you assholes that claim that movie is not a fucking Christmas movie,
it is 100%
you can all
Christmas.
eat a bag of dicks.
It is.
How about that?
It is 100% a Christmas movie.
My mom will fight you.
And trust me,
hard.
She's not someone you want to fight with. Trust me, that is a playing ground that you are not ready to go to. So
I've always said, Mom is a good, God-fearing Christian woman, but cross her, she will stab you with a rusty fork.
That's right.
Like, just cause.
What did Robin Williams say about Michelle Obama? She's like, she is a sweet, tender-hearted woman, but you mess with her, man, oh boy. Yeah. It's that whole mentality, you know. But
yeah, that was my like I don't want to say my number one, but like the first one that like came to me, and it was just the fact that Die Hard was a pretty big staple in our household. Yeah. I understand the fact that you didn't watch it like I did. Once I said what it was, you realized you were young. You didn't know names. You just saw this action movie. And to be honest with you, most of the deaths in that movie are pretty legit. Like, they look really awesome.
Yeah, it's
just gunshot wounds and then the hanging and then it all looked really good.
Yeah, obviously that they took Die Hard way too far, but it's like with all the sequels, like it's just
the sequels.
Yeah. It's like Live Free or Die Hard, like
Die Harder.
Yeah, right. What was it?
Like, he can't die any harder. He's already died.
What did Bill Hader say when they were talking about what he thought that the sequel to It should be called? It should be called It's. So it's that kind of mentality. But
Die Hards.
Die Harder, Die Hardest.
Yeah.
And then just death.
Yeah. Done. So yeah, that was my like kind of first, like I said, very short one. So
okay.
All right.
I can give you, for my next one, I can give you one of two things. I can either give you probably one of the most heroic deaths that I think that I've seen, or I can give you one of the most shocking deaths that I did not believe was actually going to happen.
Okay, well then it's probably, I'm going to say one or the other, and this is probably the one I was guessing, Tony Stark.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes. I knew it was coming. Which one is it though?
Okay, so it's Tony Stark.
No.
It's and then what was your question?
Each version. You said
it's the heroic death.
Heroic death, but then I didn't know if maybe you put that in, didn't know it was coming too.
No,
that's why I was like, which version? Which one was it?
It's the heroic one.
Okay.
And now there was
I almost picked that, but I knew you were going to do it.
I almost didn't because
how fucked up would that be if we neither one of us did it?
Well, because I don't know, like I don't want to be so stereotypical, but in the same hand, there's so much about that is so beautiful how they've just started that arc with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And you have over 30 films leading to that. And then ultimately
I never thought of that.
It's all one cohesive story.
I know that. Yeah. I know that, but I didn't think about the fact that it was Iron Man that's fuck me.
Yeah, that's the one that started it all. It was Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau that they were just like
fucking Jon Favreau with the clutch on all this shit. Mm-hmm. Do you know who that dude is?
Yes, Elf.
Correct, but he's been in way other shit.
He directed Elf. Was so yeah.
Well, right, but what I mean is he was the why did I just lose his fucking name? Eastbound and Down, Halloween, Danny McBride.
Oh, yeah.
He was like the Danny McBride of shit. He was that dude just in things and stuff.
Yeah.
And funny.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I heard Jon Favreau's making Iron Man. I said, get the fuck out of here. The dude that dated Monica, that was the rich guy in Friends. No fucking way.
That's right. Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah. And it's what I think is so great is the fact that
look at what he fucking did.
Not only did he give us the start of the MCU, He gave us obviously Elf, which is a classic Christmas.
But is the Elf what's your favorite color?
And not to mention, he also has directed the first and second seasons of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
he saved Star Wars.
Yeah, dude. I don't think. Oh man, we're gonna get off on a weird tangent here. Yeah, but anyways, no, I never thought of that. And fucking Jon Favreau with the fucking clutch, dude. He's what the world needed for this shit.
He is such a monumental person.
God damn, I never realized.
Yeah.
You just blew my fucking mind.
Now think about this. This is what a lot of people don't remember about what makes Tony Stark's death so insane that it ultimately ended up that way. Is in the Avengers, the very first Avengers, when the Scepter is in the science lab, and essentially they are being influenced by the Mind Stone to argue with each other. There's this rift that's starting to happen, and there's that fight that him and Cap have. And as you can see, like throughout the rest of the MCU, it's like there's that tension that's always kind of between them, that like they never really did get along, but they did. Like they understood that like they were friends, but they always didn't see eye to eye. And
they're kind of like the Dwight and Jim.
Kinda.
So those are for the people that don't watch comics but are still a nerd and watch The Office.
Yes.
So that's where you're at.
What I love about it is that
P.S. I do both.
Is when Cap looks at him and says, he's like, you're not the guy that will lay down on the wire and lay your life down on the wire to let someone crawl over you to safety. And he looks at Cap, or then Stark looks at Cap, and he's like, I think I would just cut the wire. And in a Cap's like, he's like, you always have a way out. He's like,
I do remember that.
And it's like, what I love is that, through the rest of the series, especially going to Endgame, one of my favorite scenes is when they're basically sitting in the control room looking at all the deaths, and Thanos did what he was going to said he was going to do, and the way that Stark just looks at Cap, and he's like, you told me that if we lost, we would do it together. And guess what, Cap? We lost and you weren't there. It's like he is completely defeated. Like he when he rips it off of his chest, and he's like, you take it. Like he's like, you can take that, you go and you hide. Like you don't fight him, you hide from him. Like he's scared of him. Like he realizes what he got himself into. And for the last ditch effort, the 1 out of 14 million that means that they won
was
the fact that it was, because I love how Scotty from Counterpointless basically put it, was that like when Strange gave up the stone, he's like, this guy's getting the stone one way or another. And right. It's like he knew more of what was going to happen. And even the way that he looks at Stark, and he's like, and Stark's like, hey, he's like, you said 1 out of 14 million, is this it? And he's like, if I tell you, it won't happen.
You just have to do it.
And it's what I love about that is,
can we just say that Doctor Strange was probably one of the most underrated characters.
Yeah, the master of the
Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing. Sorry.
Which Multiverse of Madness is supposed to change everything when it comes to the MCU.
I heard. But I've heard bits and pieces. But sorry, I mean, I don't think he was appreciated as much as people should give him. But anyways.
No, he
was genius.
Which, come to find out, I did not know this, but when Stark looks at Strange, and Strange does the one, that was improv by Benedict Cumberbatch. That was not in the script. He did that as
so he knew
it was that, like, I love, again, it's done with absolutely no dialogue. It was that moment they locked eyes, and he's like, this is it. You have to do this. This is the only way this is going to happen. And there was speculation for years that Stark would eventually wield a gauntlet of some kind, because almost in every movie something happens to his left arm. So they were saying it was symbolism of the idea of, like, because like in Civil War he's actually in a sling for the majority of the movie because he got his ass kicked. So it's like, he takes it off and he's kind of like, all right, time to go to work, and he puts on his suit and goes. So there was kind of some theories of them saying that this is possibly what would happen. Now it ended up being the opposite arm, because it was a right-handed gauntlet.
Yeah.
But what killed me about that was, the hell that Hulk went through just to get one snap out. And then you see all the stones go on to Stark, and you realize he's not making it out of this.
Hell no, he's human.
And
that suit's cool, but it ain't that cool.
Nanotech is enough to save you from bullets, not from the entirety of the energy of the universe.
Yeah, you can jump out of an airplane without a parachute and be fine.
Right.
Snapping that motherfucker is a whole different story. Literally.
And what I love is when Pepper just goes to him. And I mean, he's catatonic, like he can't like really even comprehend what's happening around him. And what I love about it is that from the very beginning, all Stark ever wanted was for everybody to be safe.
Yep.
And the way that she looks at him and she's just like, we're going to be okay.
You're done.
You can rest now.
Yep.
And I was in denial until his arc light went out.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
it's going to come back on. It's going to come back on.
And, I'm like, they did it. Like they actually did it. And
Riley was a mess. She cried in both movies.
It was, but yeah. So, I mean, I could go on and on about the MCU.
No. That's fine. But no, that is, yeah. I knew that was probably going to be one of yours. And like I said, the irony behind the fact that if neither one of us would have done it, but
yeah, it just, I felt like that just needed to be spoken about, especially because the last shot you see of him when he snaps was actually shot 2 weeks before the film came out. They had to do some reshoots, and he had already said goodbye to this character, and Feige called him and was like, hey, we need to do one more pickup shot. And Downey Jr. was like, no. He's like, no. I've already moved on from this. He's like, you can't expect me to go back into it. And Feige was like, we need it. He's like, you need to just put on the suit one more time. And it was him to be, I think there's something just so cool about the last time he wore the Iron Man suit legit is when he said, and I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it's, and oh God. So, but yeah.
So, all right. Kind of a similar, I don't want to say situation, but you'll understand suit wise. My next one is Alex Murphy, RoboCop.
Ooh,
the original.
Dude, that's a
brutal fucking scene. And by Red Foreman too.
A foot, what was it? A beer in every hand and a foot in every ass.
Yeah. I remember watching that movie with Mom. Now, Mom had already seen it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were at Aunt Heidi's that night when we rented VHS.
This is dating this. This is showing you. So yeah.
I remember watching it, and I remember Mom like kind of looking out of the corner of her eye, watching me, like waiting if I was going to like freak out.
Yeah.
That shit was, when I look at it now, I guess in the fact of like some of the guns that were as powerful, but dude, like they were like blowing limbs off.
And I think that what kills me about it was I mean, it has to be obviously, but I finally watched how they made that scene, and the very last shot of him when he's in pain and they finally do the final headshot. That was a prosthetic head that had an explosive in it but it was like the way that they added the sound effect and the way that he was like crinkling back and was like his last ditch effort was there. Like it was just like the practical effects were beautiful. And it's, and like we've said before, it's like, it's lacking now. Like there's just not that much that you see with that, but
he also, I forget the actor's name, cause he actually shows up in Dexter later on in years, and he still looks great. Like he's like 60 plus years old by this point, but he still looks like Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
He took like dance classes, basically like how it's what like Michael Jackson and everybody, it's popping and locking basically. He really moved like that to be able to move like a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did like he spent months apparently doing that shit. And I was like, dude, that motherfucker was committed to this role.
Yes.
And it came off beautifully. And then the next one actually, this is just kind of an improv now, cause now I remember it, Death, but the second one, I remember we rented it, and your dad, there's a scene where they have a guy in this like hospital bed, and he was like a snitch or something like that. And the head guy was like, get ready to talk. And if he didn't talk, he had him on, and somebody was going to cut him open with
I do remember that. Isn't the kid, there's a kid there?
And he makes him watch, and it starts, and your dad was like, okay,
we're done.
And mom's like, no, let's see what Eric does.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, this is cool.
Totally unfazed.
Yeah. Like, your dad was like, fuck this. But no, I think he thought maybe I was going to freak out, but that was kind of a cool one. But no, Alex Murphy, that was just I guess to get where they were at with RoboCop, I mean, you had to do something outlandish to like make him basically all android other than his head, which always tripped me out because he got shot basically all over. And it was like, how do you really, there's no way you can come back from that. But
right. I mean, it has the same absurdity as even like the remake did, where it was just his head, his neck, and his vital organs were basically left. And so like, which I think that's a very solid remake. I thought that it was good. It was, especially like, I mean, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, I mean, Jackie Earle Haley, like those are like, if you have those three people in your movie, then you're already on the right track. Like, it's kind of like when you look at Daniel Craig, like you don't look at him and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and go, he's going to be the weak point of this film. Not going to happen. Like,
right. I thought that was something that a lot of people probably overlook as far as a death, because the movie isn't a scary movie. It's a sci-fi, movie, but its other death scenes are just like, violent shootouts basically, which so was that. But it was nobody had ever done that. I don't think
it took deaths to a different caliber. Like, again, I think it kind of just set the bar, because like we had this conversation the other night where it was the idea that, when you see a death in a film that either disturbs you or that is like, damn, like that was horrible, your bar has officially been pushed up.
Yeah.
So everything that you
and I was like 7.
And it's like, so everything from that point on has to be able to hit you more than what that one did. And then eventually you have it again, and then we go back up.
Exactly.
So it's that kind of aspect. So that one for sure. I mean, that's a very, very solid one. That is a good one as far as plot. That is a fantastic one.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful concept. It's this idea that, this guy gets turned into a RoboCop, and ultimately that's what allows him to be able to, quote unquote, get his revenge. But ultimately he's just doing his job as a cop. So it's
dead or alive, you're coming with me.
It's, oh God. What was it? What would, I can't remember the guy's name when at the very end, when he's like, you're fired, and he shoots him out the window. Like,
yeah.
It's
no, that was, I was like, I wonder if Kyle will remember this.
I do. It's
like the actual scene.
Yeah, that is a scene that I've watched a few times here and there, just to like, because I kind of like have to have that mentality of like, when you've seen things when you're younger, you're like, I need to watch this to actually make sure this did happen, because it's so far back in my memory, and that was one of them for me.
All right, so I'm gonna I'm reading.
We got some comments on that.
Yeah.
What do we got?
We've got Anna, which is one of our followers, and that has given us some.
And she is also a patron supporter as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, she said Terminator and the Terminator and T2.
Oh God, that is
she's pulling out. Okay, all right. She's got a different one on a genre that I have.
Okay.
And then she said the mom from Kubo.
I've not seen Kubo into the Two Strings, so I do not know.
I've seen some of it.
Now, from what I understand, it's a fantastic film. But I think because we talked about it before, that it was one of the very few like actual like all claymation animation films that's been done recently. So
yes,
yeah, which again is crazy that you can exhibit emotion through clay, and it's just that in motion and
everything. That's talent.
Yeah,
that is so I mean, go ahead and do yours. Okay. I'm going to.
All right. So next up, Henry from The Good Son. Macaulay Culkin. And what I believe is actually his first, and I don't know if I want to say it's his only death, because I know he's done many other films other than just Home Alone and, you know, all that stuff. But yeah. But The Good Son was another movie that I was kind of obsessed with when I was a kid, because I just couldn't believe that Kevin from Home Alone was this evil, evil kid. And it's because I love the tagline of that film on the poster. It's like evil has many faces.
Yes.
And it's
you just pulled out a good one.
That was the one I was saying, like that's an older one. And that's something that a lot of people, that's kind of a movie that people kind of forget about. Is that, you know, like there's it's I don't want to say it's like a cult classic, but it's
kind of a lost. Sleeper if you don't know about it.
Yeah,
it's definitely I'm pretty sure,
and Elijah Wood as well.
Yeah,
like,
I'm pretty sure me and Mom went and saw that in theaters. Like I'm pretty sure that was like a date night for us.
It's now what I will say is that there's not a lot to be said about the death. Like there's nothing too crazy about it. But what I will say is Macaulay has he's a fantastic actor. He's good at what he does, and the way that when she lets go of him, and he just, like, the way that you hear him scream, like you're used to hearing him scream in Home Alone, so like there's a way you can probably be like, oh, it's comical, but like no, like it was rough. Like in like you don't see him hit the rocks, but you do see the aftermath of what's there. Again, not gross, not, you know, intense, but
it's real.
Yes,
it's real.
Yeah.
Man, you pulled out a good one.
That I knew that if I was going to do deaths, I had to include that one, because that was something that, like, Mom warned me about this film, and because I was like, I want to watch this. It's got Kevin from Home Alone, and she's like, Kyle, you have to understand, this is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
No, she's like, she gave me basically a rundown of it, and she's like, are you ready to watch this?
God, I need to rewatch that now.
And I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, let's do it. And I remember my exclamation when he fell was, he needs to be in these other movies. He can't if he's dead. That's what made me realize that acting is pretend. Like I was very, very young when I watched the movie, and it's like that was kind of like my, you know, mentality of like when you watch like Dane Cook die in Mr. Brooks, like it's like that you can see him.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's like he did an amazing job, but you know,
he did.
Yeah, he got beat in the face with a shovel. Like
just in general in that movie, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and it's like that mentality where, you know, like somebody like I mean, you mentioned earlier that this is probably I'm not going to say the character, but the actor, Sean Bean. Like Sean Bean is always a guy that no matter what movie he's in, he always dies.
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of desensitized where it's like, oh, Sean Bean's in this action film. Well, we'll see how long he makes it. But,
yeah.
You know, but Macaulay, like he was kind of one of those characters or those actors where it's just like he was kind of always safe. Like you didn't really have to worry about that aspect. And The Good Son just did something completely different. It just threw a wrench in everything. And it kind of tears you up a little bit because you're like, man, like I love Macaulay Culkin as an actor. I love, you know, his other roles, but he is just evil in that movie. And it was when that finally happened, you were like, oh God, I feel better. Like it's gone. It's like he's gone. Like there's no, you know, there's no more worry of him hurting or harming anybody else or anything to that effect. So, just that was it. That was one that it
was a relief.
Yeah, it was a mercy killing for everyone around him, you know, and it's if you've not seen The Good Son, it's definitely I don't know if I would say it's a repeat watcher, but it's definitely, if you've not seen it, it's definitely one you need to watch once.
It's a repeat watcher. I feel like it is.
It's to me like it's a very, very dark film, so it's one of those like I don't really want to watch that all the time, but. But no, I couldn't not include that. But anyway, so yeah, that's my my third one. What's your third one?
All right. Now, for people that have not finished or want to watch the show for the first time, please turn off now. I'm not kidding.
Yep.
This will ruin a bunch of shit for you.
Because I don't know what they are, but I know what you're referring to. And he's absolutely right. This is your spoiler warning if you've not seen.
So my last three are from this show. But This is from Game of Thrones in no particular order.
Yep.
Actually, no. False. I'm going to go in order of 3, 2, 1 as far as least to best far in this category. So I'm going to go with 3 now. Again, please turn off now if you do not want to hear this. I don't care if you think you know, you do not know. Mm-hmm. So this is your spoiler warning alert.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Now we're into spoiler territory. Go ahead.
King Joffrey.
Yes. Now,
that little fucking bastard.
That is a death that I knew about very shortly after it happened in the show.
Okay.
So that's not a shocker for me as far as like the plot and everything. Like I feel like that's a mercy killing for like the writer of the show. Like God, it's just
it was I think the reason why it was so good for me was, one, Joffrey was yep.
You just love to hate him.
Yeah. That kid did such a good job at making you hate his fucking guts.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can say good writing all you want. Good writing only goes so far. That dude, that actor, I forget his real name, but he was actually in Batman Begins.
People have made the joke that when Batman looks at him and says something to the effect of like, do something great with
your
yourself.
life. Yeah. I don't worry, I will.
And then he becomes King Joffrey. So.
But
yeah,
the reason why is that he played it so well that I fucking hated him.
Yeah.
Like I would, like almost to the point, like if I would see him on the streets, I might have punched him in the face. I wouldn't.
Right.
It's just the fact of he was that character.
He's got a face that only a mother could love.
Yeah.
Like it's just like,
but no, that scene was so intense. Now it was a poisoning, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes with that couple minute scene with, Tyrion and things like that, where he's like holding the cup in like shock and like it was everywhere. Everybody in all angles were like, what the fuck? And who did this? Well, then you have Tyrion over here who was his uncle and was getting him his wine.
Yeah.
He was just a little shit. So you have him standing there looking at it. So now he looks guilty as shit, but he's trying to figure out Tyrion is the smartest one out of everybody in the entire fucking show.
Yeah.
He has to be. That is his weapon. But the intenseness of him dying the entire time, you're like, oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Fucking, nope. Just a little longer. Make it last a little longer. He's bleeding. You can see his veins. Like, it's intense and you love it.
What I always hate about what films do or don't do is this mentality of when a character that has just cemented themselves in the aspect of that this motherfucker needs to pay. This and I feel like that Joffrey was a kill that absolutely delivered on that aspect of that, like with all the horrible things that he did, all the horrible I don't even have words. Like it's just like everything that he has just cemented himself as. It's so intense. And it's like, like when you watch, I don't even have a good example, but like when you watch another film where like there's this horrible dude and like somebody like punches him and then he like, like gets knocked out and like hits his head on something and he's dead. It's like, no, like that's no. Like you've built this up this whole time.
Make it worth my while.
Yeah, it's that whole idea of the punishment should fit the crime. Like that's to me, like that's something that I feel needs to be there. It's like there's that satisfaction thing. It's like the shark in Jaws. Like they didn't want the shark to die of its wounds like it did in the book. The writer or the screenwriter and Steven Spielberg were like, no, we want people in the theater to be cheering when this shark gets killed. So that's why they did the whole the tank. So it's like it was a beautiful, beautiful choice. And I think that's a beautiful one. That's a really awesome choice for that one.
Yeah. So. I just, like I said, it's not it wasn't such a graphic scene. Mm-hmm. It made you feel some type of way. You get very attached to not that you were attached to him, but you get attached to these characters. Mm-hmm. And Game of Thrones will suck you in.
Yeah.
If you are a fan, you are sucked in. There is no, I kind of like this show. You either like it or you don't. Mm-hmm. I never thought in a million years I would like this show, and it just got me. And it is confusing, even watching it. Mm-hmm. There's just so many people.
I can't imagine reading it.
Me either. And I know I'm not a reader, but fuck, dude.
That is, yeah.
Like I've kind of said to you before, that it's almost like everybody is a main character almost. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then you don't dare get attached to anybody because you have no fucking idea. Like, he does not care. He will kill major characters out of left field. And you're like, the fuck? How? What? No.
I remember watching.
That's all I did the entire season. What? Oh, fuck me. That's all I did.
What I remember is watching somebody play through. I'm trying not to do this, but still, it's like it's completely cohesive. Is that when Joel gets impaled in The Last of Us, when he falls, and you have to keep playing as him. I remember the girl I was watching play the game.
Oh yeah, that hot chick.
Well, I mean, that narrows it down to like 80, but
she was sweet.
Basically what ended up happening was that her title of that episode was "What is this, Game of Thrones?" Like, she was just like,
oh yeah,
she's like, you can't just kill Joel. Like, you can't do that. Little do they know what was going to happen later, but it's just, right. But no, it's true, man. Like, that is to me.
I like that.
That is a writer that is good at what they do. And it's the fact that they are like, he is able to kill off characters and still keep you interested. There's enough character development with the rest of everybody that's there. Like your Tyrions, like your Jon Snows, like your all that, like that. There are characters that are monumental to the story. And even though you get attached and you love these quote unquote main characters and they die or they get killed or whatever happens to them, there's still so much substance to keep you going. Mm-hmm. And that is the element of just a fantastic writer. The writing of that show, and from the books of like the friends of mine that have read them and that have just done nothing but gush over them, have just said that they are just flawless.
We really got to get back on watching that show for you guys. Like, I mean, I didn't know if, I know that we started watching other stuff, then it was Halloween. I didn't know if maybe she just wasn't into it and we stopped watching it. Or
that was timing. That was just, yeah.
That's kind of what I thought, but I just was like, well, maybe she didn't really dig it and just didn't want to watch it anymore. No, we really do. We'll watch a couple more episodes, like an episode or two before to like catch back up because it has been a while. But yes, so that would be 3 on the list, and then I'll go to 2 after this. So yeah, I've got. It's a good thing you're buying a new phone.
Throw it. Okay. So this next one is jump scare death.
Okay.
This is something that I watched when again, a lot of these are from when I was a kid. Actually, I think the majority of them are, except for Endgame. But Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh.
When that Mako shark just jumps right out of the water, like it's like you look at Morgan Freeman and did I say Samuel L. Jackson? I'm so sorry. It's Morgan Freeman, not Samuel L. Jackson. It's Morgan Freeman, isn't it? Wait, hold on. I'm about to have a moment right now. Hold on.
It's Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker.
Hold on.
And I say motherfucker because it's Samuel motherfucking Jackson.
Hold on.
Deep Blue Sea. You don't remember the Dave Chappelle joke? Deep Blue Sea, they ate me. A fucking shark ate me.
Hold on.
Juice, that was a good one.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm right. I'm right, motherfucker.
I'm now I'm like having like complete doubts of myself.
Doubts me.
Samuel. Okay, it is Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, it is Samuel.
I just did the Dave Chappelle skit.
No. What did it for me was that I remembered his goatee had that discoloration with the gray, and for some reason that just made me think Morgan Freeman. I don't know why the fuck I did that, but anyway. So no, but it is that was a death that was just so crazy. Like it was out of nowhere. Like you didn't see it coming. You didn't understand.
You thought he was safe.
Yeah, because
it was right there in that whole thing that came up underneath the
And it's so ironic with him talking like he's like, trust me, he's like, things can get bad and they're gonna get a whole lot worse. That's why we have to stick together. We're gonna get through the. We're like, I just ate him. The shark just ate him. It's kind of like when we saw chapter 2 when the Pennywise bit the girl's face, and in the theater all we heard when it went silent was your voice when you were like, he just bit half her face off.
I was like, he bit her fucking face off.
But I mean, there's not a lot of substance to that one. It's just kind
of like my Hans Gruber. Like
it was so quick, and I mean, especially if you watch the cinematic version when you see him get pulled deeper into the water and the sharks are just ripping him apart, and it's like, oh my God. Like, so at that point it's kind of
two of your biggest fears.
Yes. Two of them colliding into one place. So,
Big Keith out. Think about that.
No, thank you. And but no, it was
your lungs imploding at the same time while you're all the
Deep
way
Blue
down.
Sea was a fantastic film. And can we please acknowledge the fact that LL Cool J was in that movie?
Fuck yeah, he was, and he made it. And he was black.
What I love about that is
he made it till the end.
Was when he was
fucking LL Cool J.
When he was wading through the water, and he looks over and finds that Playboy, and he opens it up, and he's shivering, and he's just. Please let me get out of here. Oh man, like
pussy.
You ate my bird.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm telling you right now, he was the best part of that movie. He was the chef, and he should have been.
Yeah. What was it when he had the video camera when he was leaving his testimonial of like just in case he died? Just we're gonna begin with an omelet which is made by with 2 eggs, not 3. Some people use milk as a substitute. This is a mistake.
This is a mistake. Yeah, the perfect omelet. Yeah. Oh man.
So okay, so your next one.
All right. So.
Fur on this thing. I'm wiping that off.
It is Game of Thrones again.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blah, blah, blah. Told you all this before. Okay. The Viper, when the Viper and the Mountain fight.
Oh, yes. I do remember that scene. Yeah.
So I'm not going to get too involved on like the whole backstory of it, but basically what happens is there is a fight that has to go down. The Viper volunteers, which is a character that comes from another land. And the reason he wants to fight is because he knew that they were going to pick the Mountain to fight. The Mountain had like raped and pillaged his homeland and killed. It was his like wife and daughter and like sister and like all of his family. And so the Mountain is huge. Hence the name The Mountain.
Isn't he what? Is he 7 foot?
He's like 7'4" or some shit.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I follow him on Instagram. The later Mountain. The Mountain was actually played by like 3 different dudes, but it's Thor Bjornsson, I believe is what he like shortened it to. But a fucking monster. He's huge. Anyways. You should see the side by side of the guy that plays the Viper and the Mountain. Even before the Mountain is actually small at this point, like built wise compared to now. But anyways, what ends up happening is the Viper's winning, and you think he's got the upper hand. He's got this like I forget what weapon he was using, but it has this like poison on it. And it starts like just wearing the Viper, the Mountain down, and he's won, right? He's won. The Mountain is on the ground, and he keeps saying, "You raped her, you murdered her," like say it. And finally, he's like, "Oh, I've won." And you just see the Mountain's hand come over and rip his fucking leg down, and he rolls over. And he was like, I raped her and I murdered her and I smashed her head like this. And he's like pushing in, and you see it in his face. And the dude playing the Viper does this scream.
Yeah. I remember that.
And I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But before he does that, he hits him in the face and you hear and see teeth fly out. And that's when he's talking to him and he's squishing in. And then he was like, and then I smashed her head like this. And then he goes, and it was like a melon, dude. Mm-hmm. And then you hear his wife scream from watching. Mm-hmm. And then the mountain just like falls over. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's almost so insane. It shouldn't have even like.
I had to rewatch it 3 times.
Yeah. It's like, it almost shouldn't exist. It's so insane.
And it was so well shot.
Mm-hmm. Man, the cinematography of Game of Thrones is nothing in lacking. Like
it got obviously better as it went on as far as that, but that scene was disgusting, and not because it was again like it was a horror movie. It looked so real.
Yeah.
It looked so real and sounded real.
That's what makes, a practical effect work well, is that, obviously when you're using practical effects, you have rubber, you have gum or gum wax, you have spear gum. Yeah. And, all the different, soft, elements, if you will. And you have to add those sound effects into post, and you have to, do all those things. And it's the fact that, when the beautiful marriage of practical effects and sound effects come together, that scene is just, it's the pinnacle of it. It's what the fact that you can get that reaction out of people, and the fact that you can disturb somebody or make somebody watch something over and over. Like it's kind of like the death from Final Destination 2 when Timmy gets crushed by the glass.
Oh,
that is a scene that I like. I was like, I'm like, that can't be like, I didn't just see that. Like that was something I had to, like, that's another one I had to watch like over and over again. And it's like when a movie or something cinema wise can do that to you, because I think you even said it yourself. You're like, I slowed it down and even paused it. And like, you can't tell it's a dummy.
When he's like snapping his head, like I wasn't trying to be sadistic. It looked so good.
Yep. Yeah.
That when both actor and prop on either end between the Viper and then the guy, Thor, ironically, fitting that was his name, but pushing and doing this, like, regardless if they had some CGI in there with it to help with the explosion, it all worked, like you said, cohesively. There was no flaw in it.
No, and that is how you know that they took their time. They knew that was probably a death that they had to sit in a meeting and go, okay, how are we going to do this?
Yep.
What is the right way to do this? All right. You from ILM, you from, Rick Baker's, effects, Dungeon, you over here, like there are Foley designers for sound. Like you all need to work together on this one scene of this TV show. And because it
make it look good,
because it needed to be done.
It was a plot point, kind of.
Because think about this: if that scene would have been done with a cutaway, as far as like when they were to cut to the audience, and if you were to just hear it, it could be taken as comical.
He exploded his head.
Yeah, right. It could have been like that whole idea of It's kind of like the I'm not trying to equate the two, but the point I'm making is when Lyle shoots the cow in Napoleon Dynamite. when the fact that Jonathan Heater, all he does is
he's just, you hear all the kids scream, but I like the scene before where it's like grandma's like, now Lyle's gonna be over here fixing some steaks, we're running low, like shoots the fucking cow.
It's just, oh man, like it very well could have gone down that route, but the good thing is that it didn't. It stayed grounded the way that it needed to.
It was a shotgun.
It was no, I was talking about the great Game of Thrones.
I know, I'm saying the cow, you just see him loading the shotgun.
Hey Lyle. It's like, dude, did you need to go that hard?
I get what you mean though. Yeah. You're right. That scene in particular, because of the fact of like what was done, you're right. It could have been taken more of a comical route, but, all right. So you're doing yours. I'm going to make me another A and dub while you talk.
Okay. First and foremost, I'm getting rid of all these notifications on my phone because they just bother me. But my last one. This is a death that, as I have gotten older, it has made me realize how amazing every actor in this scene did. And it also made me just fall in love with Michael Clarke Duncan as an actor.
Oh, God.
And that is John Coffey from The Green Mile.
Why you got to do this to me?
And the reason why this one stuck out to me is the beautiful moment that Tom Hanks's character, I can't remember his character's name, but it's arguably one of Stephen King's best stories that he's ever written. And the way that when they're sitting in the cell with him and they're saying like, John, we know you're innocent. We know that you didn't do this. Like, you know, we can, you know, do what we need to do to make this, you know, happen to where, you know, you're safe. Like none of them wanted to put him on death row.
I'm tired, boss. Dog tired.
And that, right. Like that thing where like, I'm just so tired of the world being ugly to I can't even get the thought like out. Like it's the way that Michael Clarke Duncan was Kyle. Just like that. He was just a fantastic actor no matter what he did. And what always killed me about that scene was obviously Tom Hanks's character, you know, when he finally says roll on to, he loses it. I mean, like every cop that's there doing it, you know, even the one that's in the back with the switch and waiting to do it, he doesn't want to. But the one that killed me is Barry Pepper.
Yes.
Because he could not keep
lost it.
The way that when Tom Hanks looked at him and he's like, you wipe your face before you go in front of them. And he said, yes, sir. And he was trying, like, I'm hitting the mic, but he was just, and he got it and he got up and he just could not keep it together. That to me, that scene is, it's not like not the, you know, best scene I've ever watched. It's not, you know, like an award-winning scene, you know, and the most like, there's things that have influenced me more, but The Green Mile is a movie that I watched all the time because when we lived at Aunt Heidi, she had HBO, and that was one of the reoccurring movies that was always on there. And
never knew that was a Stephen King movie or like book until like the third time I ever watched it.
Yeah, and it's I was
like, wait, Stephen King.
What's funny, I can't remember who said this to Stephen King, but essentially what ended up happening was that it was something to this effect. Was that he was in a public place and there was a woman that was talking to him and was asking who he was, you know, and she's like, you look familiar. And he's like, well, I'm Stephen King. And she went, oh, you write all them books. And he went, yes. He's like, I'm a writer. I've written, you know, all that stuff. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I don't like all them books that you write. She's like, they're too much for me. She's like, I enjoy people that write good books like The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. And he just looked at her and just went, really?
Is that real?
Yeah, it was legit. Because I think what he used a different alias when he wrote those. Because every writer sometimes will if they
yeah, but I'm pretty sure that they always said that based off of both of those movies said that.
I think what she was talking about was the book themselves, like when they came out originally.
Oh,
so yeah, because
I didn't know that they flipped it then.
Yeah, I can't remember what his alias is. Mom, when you're watching, if you can comment, let us know what his alias was.
But, I forget. Yeah, she's gonna say I'm gonna be, yep, that's it.
But like the Green Mile is just. It is such an amazing movie. It is. It's a movie that will make you laugh. It will make you cry. It will piss you off. It will make you cheer. There is so much about that story that's so great, and just the way that Michael Clarke Duncan was able to exhibit the way that a large man had the mind of a child. and just like, don't put me in the dark. Like, don't do that. Don't put me in the dark, boss. I'm scared of the dark. It's like that is just, it is such a beautiful scene. And, what I'm happy is that really all that you see is the buildup. They don't make you suffer through watching him die. They don't.
They
like,
do.
That you see the start of it, but it's not like Dell's death where it was just horrible. Which Dell was actually I almost chose him because I love Michael Jeter as an actor. I mean, he has since passed away. But,
I know he was great.
And again,
everything
there was. I really can't think of a weak role of Michael Jetter's, especially because he was even in Air Bud.
Yeah,
and he was good in that. Like he was just, again, he's kind of like a Daniel Craig. You don't look at him and go,
he's just a solid like second actor.
Yeah, and
you know what Michael Clarke Duncan did before he was an actor? He was Michael Jordan's bodyguard.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah,
that's why he always wore Jordan stuff.
This just reminded me. Do you know what Tom Hanks said about Michael Clarke Duncan at his eulogy?
No.
This was so good. I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about this, but essentially, Tom Hanks just has a very good way of making a crowd laugh even when they're crying.
Yeah.
You know? And he basically said, he was like, look, he's like, Michael was one of my really, really good friends. And he's like, and still is. Like, I'm still can't believe he's gone. But he said, Michael lived in an area where there were gangs. And he was so desperate to fit in that, and I'm sure this is before he got all brick house and everything. So when he was a child, or like maybe he was 11 or 12 or whatever, he said that he somehow got roped into this gang and their signature was that they had to dye a section of their fro, like it was either red or blonde or whatever it was, and that was the sign that you were a part of this gang.
Okay.
So Michael Clarke Duncan did it. Came home. His mama saw his hair.
Would not having it.
Oh no. He's like, she beat his ass and took clippers and said, you're cutting that off of your head right now. And he's like crying the whole time.
Big old Michael Clarke Duncan.
And she said, now you go tell those boys you ain't going to be a part of this game because your mama told you that you weren't going to do it. So, and Tom was like, Mike, what did you do? He's like, I walked up to that gang. Half of my hair missing. Was Mama said I can't be in your game. He's like, and they kicked his ass.
So he got a double ass kicking.
So he said it was a story that Michael always shared. Like it was a fun thing. Like that really made him, from what I understand, like it helped him grow up. Like it made him understand, like, like, wow, like my mama does know best. Like, and that's, it was like, I love that. Like
I could see that. I could see that. And then, he did good in all of his other, one of my other favorite movies he was in was, Jesus Christ, I just lost it. It's with Bruce Willis and,
The Whole 9 Yards.
Whole 9 Yards. I kept thinking 9.5 weeks.
Frankie. You played Frankie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Matthew. Is it Matthew Perry?
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I love is when actually it's another movie that he dies in.
Yeah.
When he shoots Michael Clarke Duncan off of the boat.
Yeah, and then he tries to throw them the beer and he doesn't catch it. And he's like, well, it was either you or him. Well, you clearly made the right decision.
What I love is in The Whole 10 Yards is when he's making the little mobile for their baby that's going to be born, and he has all the people I think that he's killed. Yeah. And he has that little doll and he's just like, oh, Frankie.
Yeah. Frankie Tedeschi.
Right. Oh man, it's just, oh god, it's
no, not Tedeschi.
Oh, that's
your Franklin Figueroa.
Tedeschi, you're thinking of The Longest Yard. Tedeschi, or was that Wachowski?
That was Wachowski. Tedeschi is in it, but anyways, I digress.
Yeah,
but no, that is, you're absolutely right. John Coffey was a sad death.
I think that it made me so mad. It kind of had the element of like I think you had described before when you had watched The Passion of the Christ with like one of your friends, and they were like why are they doing this to him? Like he doesn't deserve this. Like John Coffey did not deserve this.
I remember that.
You know, it's like, you know, that
was Tyler.
It's, you know,
that took me back to, I forgot about that.
No, but it's, John Coffey is just like, because like what I love about the Green Mile is that they take you through every inmate that they have to put to death, and you see the way they do it with the janitor, like, you know, walking the Green Mile. Well, dear Lord, I'll never do it again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so like when you understand it's now John Coffey's turn to walk the Green Mile,
and he wasn't that's not what it was like.
It was
silent.
It was, oh my God, it was so awesome. And oh my God, the way that his last request was just, he's like, can I watch one of them picture films?
One of them Flickr shows.
Yeah. And it's just the way that it was that, just the way he was just a child and
he was just sitting there like and they never see me, and that cornbread your missus makes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
With some collard greens. Yeah, like
it just, oh man, it's there's so much about that movie that is so damn good, and it just, the way that like everything from like the way that he heals Tom Hanks's character, and like he gets finally, and I don't want to say revenge on Percy. It's retribution on Percy.
He deserved it.
It was because like there was like when I was watching that movie when he took the tumor out of. If you've not seen the Green Mile, and this is going to be really,
then that's on you. So fuck you. Listen.
No, what I'm saying is like I'm going to skip over a lot of shit, so it's probably not going to make a lot of sense. But the way that when he took the tumor from the warden's wife, and he wasn't coughing it up, like as a kid I was watching it, I'm like,
kept it, and you didn't know why.
Yeah, and it was so well done. Like it's from Stephen King's writing to I don't know who directed the film, but you know the director of the film was fantastic. Every single actor in that movie was a slam dunk.
Yeah,
there was not one weak link in that movie. It was
not one.
Even what was it? Helen Hunt, who plays Tom Hanks' wife. Just, you know, like the way that she was able to just talk with him about like, you know, the situation every time that he would come home, and just like, you know, about like, you know, I put this person to death today, and like, you know, this is like what happened, and you know, it's just like she was just amazing.
Oh yeah, she was. Isn't it funny that the warden in that is the warden in American Horror Story?
He's the Nazi doctor.
Or yes, the Nazi doctor.
Yeah, again, another fantastic
and then he's
actor.
also he's the warden in The Longest Yard.
Yeah, yeah. So he's
just a good asshole.
He's a very, very, very good man at acting. So, but no, it just that is just, it's so good. And there's times I forget that that Michael Clarke Duncan's gone, because like it kind of it just kind of happened. Like it was.
You're like, what?
Yeah, it's like he died of a heart attack.
Like how? Yeah.
Like, okay, like, well, shit.
The most fit guy on the planet died of a heart attack.
He played the Kingpin, for fuck's sake. Like it just so. But no, it was so awesome just to see how good of an actor he was. And The Green Mile to me just was to me. I think it's probably Michael Clarke Duncan's best film. I think it, you know, I think it's his best film.
I could say, yeah, I could.
That's also that's kind of like picking, you know, what's the best Def Leppard song in the world. Like it's like, you know, there's so many good ones. Like
you know what the first thing he was ever in? Friday. He didn't have a speaking part. He was just an extra when they were playing when they were shooting dice, and Debo knocks dude out, and then the whole scene where you just got knocked the fuck out. But yeah, he's right there. But okay, so I'll say my last one, then we can get to some honorable mentions here. Mm-hmm. Last one again, 3, 2, 1, blah, blah, blah. Spoiler alert, Game of Thrones. I'm going to get a little animated here. I apologize in advance.
Okay.
The Night King.
The Night King. Okay.
So there's these things called the night, or they're, oh my God. White Walkers.
Yes.
The Wall. Winter is coming. There's a lot that goes on, so I'm not going to bore you and even try to explain. Mm-hmm. But there is this one motherfucker who is like, head motherfucker in charge, right?
Right.
You have to kill him to make sure everybody else falls. They're like his zombie following, if you will.
So it's kind of like the vampire mentality. You kill the alpha, you kill all of them. Okay. Yeah.
My girl. Oh, she's my girl.
Arya Stark. Yep.
Okay. So we set the scene for you. Mm-hmm. Ohio, 2018. No.
It was 40 degrees.
Yeah. So I have a Fire Stick. Sorry, I streamed it illegally. I'm not paying for HBO. Fuck you. But it was getting to the end of the series, and you watch all of these characters obviously grow and do all of this stuff and become who they are, and it's great. Mm-hmm. You know that anybody could die at any moment. It does not matter who the fuck they are. We've established this twice already tonight. Mm-hmm. So that being said, a scene is coming where he is basically kind of vulnerable, but he's not. Mm. All you see here, actually, I should say, is here. They're very intuitive. They're kind of almost like ninjas, if you will, which is weird. The White Walkers, they're like weird ninja zombie fucking frozen people. Mm-hmm. They're like unbeatable. And you just hear, you like hear this little, and one looks for a second like one of his like goons around him. And the next thing you see, coming through the fucking dark in the air, she's got a specific dagger though, mm-hmm. coming through the air, and they see, and it's Arya coming through like Michael Jordan about to dunk from the fucking foul line, just balls out. And then they turn, and he turns around and snatches her by the neck. It's 2:00 in the fucking morning when I'm watching this. Kids are asleep. I am standing in front of the TV, and for a split second, I was like, I will fucking quit. I will stop watching right now. That happened one other time. It's an honorable mention, but she comes up and she's about to stab him in the head, right? Mm-hmm. And he grabs her, and you're like, it's over. He's got her. Mm-hmm. This slick bitch drops the knife, catches it in her other hand, and stabs him right in the fucking chest. I got goosebumps right now, dude. And you're like, oh my fuck. It was Arya.
Yeah.
She was the one. Oh man, they're all over, man. Oh God. It was that buildup. It was the way it was shot. It was the fact that that split second with all that slow motion, you're thinking, nope.
Yeah.
Here she goes.
Yeah.
But with all of her training throughout the show, it almost makes sense. And again, I'm not going to explain. It would take way too long. Mm-hmm. And I know you do want to watch it. And I know you don't care that you know that, but it still makes it a good, good show.
It's kind of like the way that I've described, or somebody that I've heard describe The Empire Strikes Back, which is I've ultimately I love. This is one of my favorite sayings, is that they're saying calling Fight Club is kind of like calling The Empire Strikes Back the Battle of Hoth. There's so much more that happens.
Yeah.
It's like you see these pinnacle moments that happen, these anchor point moments, if you will, that happen in Game of Thrones. But the thing is that it's like there's so much that happens in between where it's like there's a lot of people that are not about endings to stories. They're more so I'm more interested in the journey there. I'm more interested in how we got to this point and how, it's like how this development has taken us here. So it's like, that's kind of how I view Game of Thrones, is that there's so much information. There's so many people, there's so many things. And that is, something that I look forward to. That's something that I am, I'm interested in. But
you should, you should look forward to it. And
it's good.
It makes it less anticlimactic for you to see it like I did for the first time, and that does suck. Mm-hmm. But there is another one in here that it's an honorable mention that I was going to talk about that I don't think you know about, and this is really going to fucking suck.
Okay.
I legit almost stopped watching the show.
Oh boy.
This was like season 5. Mm-hmm. So like halfway, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. It might be 7. I don't fucking know. Do you know about Hodor?
No.
Hodor, the one that carries Bran, his carrier. Oh, he can say Hodor, Hodor.
Vaguely.
Okay. Well, almost stopped watching.
They kill Hodor?
Yes, dude. Mm. The reason it's all he can say is it's again backstory. Crow coming back. He sees the future, what he has to do because Bran can't walk and they're getting somewhere. They're trying to leave. He has to hold the door. Oh. And the White Walkers get him so they can get away. He's a kid. He's this chubby little kid, and he just like gets possessed. And his mom's like freaking out. And all he can say is Hodor, Hodor, Hodor. Mm-hmm. And that's all he can ever say. Mm-hmm. But he's Bran's keeper.
Yeah.
For that reason. And I fucking hated him for that. Mm. I fucking hated him for that. Hodor was this pure soul.
Yeah.
And his sole purpose was just to be a mule.
Yeah. He went out in a way that was protecting the one that he knew he needed to,
and all because
he was supposed to.
Because what was screaming at him was hold the door, hold the door.
Yeah.
And when he I don't want to say his brain went to mush, but like when it came back, all he could say was Hodor.
Yeah.
I didn't cry, but I almost cried, and I looked over. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not watching this anymore. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It pissed me off so bad because of, and it made sense once you like kind of saw the flashback and remembered the things and all of this, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very close, probably Viper one. Mm-hmm. I think the Viper just took more for me because of the visual.
Yeah.
Hodor was more of an emotional thing.
Yeah.
You became, I mean this in the nicest way, but he was almost like mentally retarded. Mm-hmm. He was a kid.
Yeah.
He was just a kid. So that was one of my honorable mentions. Like I said, I'll go all day about Game of Thrones, just like we can both do on other subjects, but right. So I'll throw one of those out there. So what's one of your honorable mentions?
An honorable mention of mine is not necessarily something that I have spent a lot of time watching. I've basically caught bits and pieces here and there, and I've been interested in what I've seen. But Mom has become a massive Deadhead. She loves The Walking Dead, and there's no shortage of deaths that you can talk about in Walking Dead. Everything from Glenn to to Abraham and Herschel, and just like all of these characters that you grow to love and that you want to make it. And ironically, the one that did it for me, and it kills me every time, is I can't remember the king's name, the one with the dreadlocks. He's the one that the head of Alexandria.
Yes,
he's one of my favorite characters, just like that I've been exposed to. He had his tiger Shiva.
Yes,
and
I did see that. I didn't start till like mid-season 6.
I'm kind of in the same route as well, and I just kind of kept up with the main events that happened.
Right.
But it was just the way that, I mean, because the way that Mom described it to me was that when you're introduced to this king, it's kind of laughable at first. You're like, you know,
it is.
You're like, you guys have a kingdom? Like, you know, we're just all the same people that, like, we all came from suburban houses, and like, now we're in the apocalypse and we have a monarchy now. Like, but he's a good king.
He is,
you know, because it's that whole mentality of like Black Panther, where like it's very difficult for a good man to be king, and he has found a way to, you know, to do it. And when they're in the middle of the woods surrounded by walkers and they're almost overtaken, Shiva just comes in and just rips them apart. And as they're
sacrifice
in the way that he gets away with his friends, and you can see him, he's limping with his stick, and he's like, Shiva, come on, girl, we got to go. And she's cornered. She can't get out. And it's like, that was, to me, like that was probably one of the harder ones for me to take in. It's
like watching it's your animal.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just,
that's Thor sacrificing for me. That's Willow stopping walkers because you and Christy, you know, need to run away. Like that's what they do.
And let's just say this too, is that Shiva in that show looked fantastic.
Yes.
Like, it's like, no,
it didn't look shitty.
No, there were some moments, but no, but like that's what helped it, you know, do so well. Like, especially like when Negan's about to take out Rick and Carl, and the second that he rings up his bat, Shiva just comes in and starts ripping apart one of the saviors. And you're like, and like, it's like Shiva was a character, like ironically a character that people loved.
Yes.
And she was trained. She knew who the bad guys were. Yep. She knew who her people were. Yep. And it's like, it was, I think that's what kills me about it, is that it's like, she was this ferocious, just loyal animal that knew exactly what she had to do in that moment. And it was just like, you know, it's like, I don't know if I'm humanizing her too much or whatever, but it's just like, she just, there was no thought about it. She just jumped right into that pit, and just,
that's what I feel like any animal, regardless of a quote unquote, like wild animal, technically all pit bulls were like, they technically we've just domesticated dogs and cats.
Right.
So that being said, no, you're not humanizing it. That's what they do.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Yes, all animals have the effect of snapping on you at any moment. I hate to say it, but look at Joe Exotic. Yes, he might have done shitty things on how he bred them to sell them or whatever, but I don't know that he necessarily treated them that bad. All of those tigers loved him. They would not turn on him like that.
Right.
He raised them from a cub.
Yep.
Again, I whoop his ass and I scold him when it needs to be done.
Right.
I'm not an asshole to him all the time. I could make him mean.
Right.
Shiva was the same thing. Just because she was a tiger does not mean that she was just going to attack you because you were her. I don't see that. I don't know. Yes, there are some bad eggs, but you saying humanizing that animal, I don't think that's a wrong thing to do, because they do become part human. That is your animal. That is your companion in a way.
Yeah.
So she knew exactly what she was doing as a predator and as a protector.
Yeah. The Walking Dead is so full of just so much character development, like, and just so
there is a lot.
It's what I think what impresses me the most about it was that one of the clips that Mom sent to me was that, because I came in around the Negan time, like that was like, you know, Jeffrey D. Morgan, obviously I'll watch, and he could be, I've said this about David Fincher. It's like, if David Fincher directed a movie about the reproductive life cycle of fruit flies, I'd watch it. Like, you know, like, so, seeing like the arc of like the saviors and everything that you know came with that, and you know, just it's so impressive to me that they were able to take somebody like Negan, and after, you know, years of the story of him becoming their prisoner and eventually becoming trusted again, and the second that they went into the blizzard to get out to like to where they were going next, and they had the rope rope on them, and I can't remember her name. It's leaving me. I'm an idiot.
It's, I know, but
Rick's daughter,
and he
takes off. He doesn't even think twice. He's like, "Oh, Judith." He's like, "Judith," and he runs right after her. Like Mom sent me that clip. She's like, "You've got to see this."
He's broken.
Yes, and it's like that little girl was all he had left, and it was just like he knew that he had
to do it. If it was the last thing he did, at least he tried, I think was what he was going after. But
there's this mentality of redemption, of that idea of that. It's like, I think that there was a lot of regret on Negan's part, and a lot of him just, realizing how much of a horrible person that he had become. Because from what I understand in the comics was that he always was a cheating, womanizing person even before the apocalypse happened. So when the apocalypse did happen, it just basically threw gasoline onto an atomic bomb, essentially.
Yep.
But how interesting is it that that's all that it took? And it's like, and it was that moment of just like, it's like, I didn't kill you, I'm keeping you alive. And it's like, he, had to live with everything that he did. But yeah, it's just, it's such a beautiful, beautiful show. I'm not, a diehard fan, but
me either.
I think that the last thing I want to touch on, just because we're on The Walking Dead. But one of the things that I love about Norman Reedus in that show is the scene where he apologizes to Maggie. And what I love in the comments under that video is it says, "When Daryl cries, we all cry."
Yeah.
And just like the way that, like, she just, like, I didn't know how that scene was going to go down. Like it was his fault. Like he was the reason why Glenn got killed.
Right.
And he can't say anything besides, "I'm sorry." He's
never done that.
And the way that Mom put it was that she's like, he carried that for so long.
Yeah.
And was in probably was like, he couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, was so like, I know that in the times of my life when I've had severe regret and how much it consumes me, how much you can't think of anything else. You can't. Yeah. And the beautiful moment of Maggie just looking at him, and she grabs him and she's like, "Help me win." She's like, "I want to kill them too."
Yeah. Now we need to do this.
It's, and she's like, "You're one of the good things in this world," because Glenn was too. And she's like, "Glenn wouldn't want you to feel this way." And she's like, "But we have to win." And like the way that she just grabs him and holds him and says, "Help me win." Like there are moments in that show that cannot be replicated.
Yeah.
That is,
you're right.
It is so awesome just to see everything about that. There's tons of weak points that people pick apart about, certain seasons.
It's a show.
But I don't know. There's been so many snippets of things that I have just really enjoyed that I look at this and I'm like, man, like this deserves all the recognition.
Yeah.
So
for being the show that it is, I don't dig on zombies, and I've said it numerous times, but yeah, it's a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to maybe indulge a little bit more. I apologize, guys. We got onto some tangents here, but some other people were letting me know tonight. Jess was saying one of her scenes was from Hereditary.
Oh yeah. So spoilers for Hereditary if you don't want to know, but yeah. So
the head scene when she's out the window and it gets taken off while she's driving, that was fucked up. Fucked up.
I remember.
So good call, Jess.
It's for real, because that is a scene that like it just again comes out of nowhere. You're like that's like I think that's kind of the moment where you're like, they can do that.
Yeah. and then her boyfriend, a buddy of mine, again went to school with, great guy. He is one of those with her, like they're a perfect match, dude. They're a perfect match. They're just into the horror genre in general. It's great. But ironically, he immediately came with the Joker and the pencil.
Yes.
And I found that to be really refreshing and like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, he didn't go with like, oh, when Freddie stuck it in her butthole and twisted this way. Like, I don't know. I was just saying, but
I don't remember that day.
So yeah, no, so that was a good one. Like that was a really good, why did I just lose the name? Honorable mention.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
So those were a good one, and then I do have to say, sorry, Anna, I'm only getting to this one, but she said the Terminator in T2. Oh. Yes, when he is being lowered after he gave his little speech, that was a good one. There's one more chip. Yes, right here, and then oh man, and then the thumbs up, and then oh God.
I think what kills me about that scene is the fact that like John is realizing that this has to happen, but he's not accepting it. And it's the fact that he's like, it's like, you can stay with us. It's okay. We'll keep you safe. It's okay. And then it changes from that to I order you not to go. Like he knew that he had to listen to him. And it was just like, he's like, like in the way that he just like there's such a beautiful yin and yang from the first and the second one. Terminator 2 to me is a perfect sequel. It did everything better.
Zero flaws.
It subverted expectations completely with the role that Arnold Schwarzenegger played. He went from being the evil version to the he eventually became humanized to the point of
you forgot that he was the Terminator.
What cybernetic organism from the future says, I need a vacation?
I need a vacation. And then the whole, when he's crying, but that's something I can never do. Mm-hmm. I want to say I didn't understand that, but I didn't get that as a kid. Me, your dad, and his friend Tony went and saw that in theaters the night it opened.
Oh, that had to be legendary. Oh.
Fucking legendary. You are correct. I got to witness that on the big screen with your dad and his buddy. And I just remember the end with the death scene. Again, Anna, phenomenal honorable mention. I honestly didn't even remember that one. So thank you. Or was that Steve? Did Steve remember that one? No, I'm just kidding.
You get an applause. And now it's over.
Got it. No, but no, that was such an intense movie, and it was so good. You're right. The flip flop from him being that, you forget that he was the Terminator.
Yeah,
that was definitely a good one. So Jesus,
even the way that Sarah didn't really want to accept him. And rightfully so, but even like the way that the handshake that they share before he goes over, like you can tell she's like, you're okay. And it sucks that it took that until that moment.
And, and the fact of, I know that John was upset because he was humanized. The older I got, the more I wasn't upset with it. He couldn't feel anything. He didn't know. He just turned off.
I don't look at it in that aspect. I look at it in the realm of that he's just going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's that
because when he's being lowered in, like he's not screaming, he's not doing any. He's just all right, man. Later.
That's one of my favorite Easter eggs that Bethesda put into Doom.
Yes.
Is that if you die in lava, you can see the Doom guy actually do the thumbs up. So, it's Terminator 2. It is another one of those films that just completely holds up to today. It looks fantastic. James Cameron just does a fantastic job.
Shocker.
As much as I just detest him for how good he is, like it's just like he made Terminator. Yeah. It is such a good choice, and I personally think they should have stopped it too, but.
I do too.
Now, I will say Terminator Salvation was awesome, and only because of the fact that I am a very, very, very soft-hearted boy for Anton Yelchin.
Okay.
And the fact that Anton Yelchin played Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation, that was so and it's
you.
Right. But it's what I love about it was that somebody told me, and this was in fact a lie. But they were like, dude, like they're like Terminator Salvation ends with them sending back the T-1000 to save John Connor. And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like it makes perfect sense for Terminator Salvation and it's not at all the case, but it was the fact that it's like, or either that, or they should have sent back Kyle Reese. Like as that, and then maybe do an alternate universe thing where Anton Yelchin played Kyle Reese in that universe instead of giving us the dog shit that we got later on. But it's just, I don't know. I was so just blown away by that moment when Kyle and John just point their guns at each other, and it's like they have that moment of just like, can I trust you? Like, is this? Yeah. And like when John's like, what's your name? And he says Kyle Reese, and he realizes this is my dad. And he can't tell him, he can't do it. Like he just knows you have to survive. He's like, you're coming with me. And it's like, it was
come with me if you want to live.
It has that Batman, you're coming with me. That was one of the most beautiful lines done on a Batman parody, which was a guy said that he was like, yeah, he's like, I did 15 years in the Slammer, which wasn't that bad because I got really good at checkers. So, yeah. So
well, anyway, that's all I have, at least for honorable mentions. Yeah, so
I think that we've.
What are we at here?
Oh, we're at an hour and 49 minutes, which means that we're probably at I don't know, maybe an hour and 30 or something.
All right, peace.
So, well, guys, this has been a wonderful, wonderful time. I appreciate all of you for hanging out with us. If you enjoy what you've seen, make sure you hit that notification bell and also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and follow us on Spotify if you haven't done so already. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thumbs up.
The like button.
Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. You know what time it is. No, we're not writing. Like I can't do that. Oh well. But either way, thank you all. We'll talk to you guys later. Adios.